Welcome to Open Source News. I am your brother and your host. It is January 20th, 2021, and I want to keep this very positive for you, report the news to you, and let's get started. By the way, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet done so, please hit that subscribe button and join our Patriot family. Well, folks, let me just report the facts to you. The swearing in of, I have to think an appropriate title for the man. The disrespect that they gave President Trump. I want to extend that same disrespect. So I will not be calling him president because he really did not win the vote of the people for the Electoral College system. I can't call him President Reject anymore because now it's official. So I'll have to come up with a appropriate title. For right now, I'm just going to call him JB. Don't want to call him by his last name nor his first, but he has been sworn in. I'm making this live stream. I wanted to originally do it right when it was happening, but I had a slight delay this morning. So hopefully you're not wasting your time watching it. But JB's been sworn in, and so has KH. As a matter of fact, KH's name was to start things off on a note that's going to be pretty much indicative of this entire affair until it's corrected. KH's was sworn in, and Sotomayor mispronounced her name. So remember all the pushback of against saying her name wrong. She herself has said her name different ways, and Sotomayor said it wrong. Apparently, JB called for unity and then started to speak bad of his opponents. But we want to be positive today, so we're not going to report on that. Definitely not going to show you that. Just getting reports also. I'm seeing a picture here. Looks like there was no social distancing among the Democrat elites. Are you surprised that when it comes down to it, it's always preach, 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 do as we say, not as we do, because we are elites. President Trump, I'm here in Southern California, so I had a hard time sleeping, as many of you have done. As I tweeted out earlier, I have not shed a tear. I had not shed a tear. Let me correct that during this whole affair, because I had feelings of anger and I'll be honest, I had feelings of just anger and frustration. I was a bit of a stupor that this could happen in the country so nakedly and transparent before. The fraud was just so transparent. I never thought that no one in government would tackle this, relatively speaking, with very few people. I had no idea that the Supreme Court would not even give it its time of day, especially when this was a larger issue than what they tackled in 2000, was just dismayed. And so I just hadn't shed a tear. Woke up, I'm here in Southern California, so I had a hard time sleeping, went to sleep, got a couple hours of shut-eye, set my alarm for 4:30 so I could watch President Trump leave the White House, land at Joint Base Andrews, and deliver his remarks, which were sweet, poignant. He looked like the boss. He looked very sure of himself. Didn't look sad. He had the perfect demeanor for what was happening. And I'm going to play you the only clip, really, not the only clip you need to hear. I want you to hear the whole thing. I plan on putting it on the BCP Reporter other channel before I did this live, but because of a delay this morning, I will put it on after I'm done with this live. You'll be able to watch it on our channel. But I want to show you the highlight of what President Trump said, or I want to play it for you since we're doing this live and I can't show you the video at this moment. But let me listen to this. This is all you need to know, and we'll discuss it briefly. And because I want to be on a positive note, I will break this down at length in the coming episodes. But listen, this is what President Trump had to say. These were his final remarks.
A goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. And again, I want to just, in leaving, I want to thank our Vice President, Mike Pence, and Karen. I want to thank Congress, because we really worked well with Congress. at least certain elements of Congress. But we really did. We've gotten so much done that nobody thought would be possible. But I do want to thank Congress. And I want to thank all of the great people of Washington, D.C., all of the people that we worked with to put this miracle together. So have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. President Trump is not going away. What does he mean by we will be back in some form? We will tackle that, like I said, in future episodes. Probably the next episode or the episode after that. It's not going to be long, but I just want to report to you what is going on, and we can do a full analysis. So make sure that you are subscribed and that you've hit the notification bell. If you're not seeing our videos and notifications, you can always go to bcp.news in your web browser and you'll find us, or you can come here to YouTube and search hashtag BCP today. So will we come back in some form? Will it be another Trump? Will it be President Trump leading a third party? Who knows? But as far as all the hope of the Insurrection Act or some other very bold action taken by President Trump, it did not take place. And I haven't, except for pictures, I'm not going to ever watch the video. We do have that JB has been sworn in. So that ends that chapter, not the way we want. Now, like I said, I had not cried or shed a tear because of my feelings of just of absolute just awe that we could be in this situation. It was just very surreal and disbelief. But when President Trump finished, he got on Air Force One and Air Force One took off. That's when where I just, I'm not going to say I cried or didn't cry. I'm nothing ashamed of that. But that was just a bitter moment for me because we have been covering President Trump since before he became president. I covered him in a rally I went to in San Diego in the spring of 2016. I've been to Trump rallies, and I was in D.C., not this last time, but for the Million MAGA March. I went to Bullhead City to see President Trump at his rally there in Arizona, and it was when the Air Force One landed and took off. We were hooting and hollering. I was there for both events. I stayed till the plane left, and I said, "That's my president." There was just something very powerful about watching the president's people, the populist president, take off in Air Force One. There was a sense of pride and just a sense of happiness knowing that one of us, a billionaire. Successful billionaire, one of us was in the White House representing us, and now watching him take off to Palm Beach in his last flight in Air Force One, at least for this term, it was just a little emotional for me. So my eyes got moist, and I may have had a tear or two drop down. I don't know. I just couldn't see for a moment. But here, this is a great tweet. I want to show this to you. Trump landing in Palm Beach still has the light shining on him. So let's see if I can. It's not going to show up, is it? Darn it. Well, it's not going to show up, but this is a picture of President. There we go. I think you can see it better there. You can see President Trump in Air Force One, and there's this beam of light. So even at the last minute, President Trump has the light shining on him. So this is a tough day in America. I'm not going to deny that, but it's not over. This is where the rubber hits the road. Now, listen. President Trump was greeted by thousands, it looks like, of supporters when on his motorcade on his way to Mar-a-Lago. A lot of people were there. More people were there than at the JB gathering.
Brush your teeth in less than 10 seconds.
That is the absolute truth. This is the most popular president in the history of the United States. The United States, essentially, as we know it, is done. We have illegitimates being sworn in, and we never got justice. We never even got our day in court. I want you to understand that, folks. Other news I just want you to be aware of, I'm going to hit on briefly, because at this point in time, they are of no consequence, but you need to know. The first declassified Russian collusion documents were released. President Trump released those, declassified them from the FBI. I reported on that. Well, we have one here that Christopher Steele admitted in 2017 that he leaked his dossier in order to help Hillary Clinton. Just going to read you one paragraph, because once again, this is news that's several years too late, but it's news nonetheless, and I want you to realize that we were right all along. Dossier author Christopher Steele admitted to the FBI that he leaked the Russia collusion story during the height of the 2016 election to help Hillary Clinton overcome her lingering email scandal, and because he believed Donald Trump's election would be bad for U.S. relations with his home country of Britain, according to documents declassified by the president in his final full day in office. And yet we had a sham impeachment and everything else. So there you have it. Not much more to mention on that. Before we get to that story, I want to let you know that Sidney Powell yesterday asked the Supreme Court to dismiss her case from Georgia, but she says, but apparently her fight for justice goes on. This is according to the Washington Examiner, which just hours ago before President rejects inauguration, Trump ally Sidney Powell dropped her remaining challenges to the presidential election results in Georgia. She requested on Tuesday that the Supreme Court dismiss a case that she had appealed up to the High Court in December. The court last week denied Powell's request for it to expedite the case, a decision that came nearly a week after Congress certified the sham win in the Electoral College. The Supreme Court also denied expedition for election challenges raised by Georgia lawyer Lynn Wood and Pennsylvania Representative Mike Kelly. This is what Sidney Powell released, and this was not on because she got kicked off Twitter. This was somewhere else. So this is being touted as officially from her, but purportedly Powell put out on social media. For those inquiring about us dropping our lawsuit in Georgia, the delay by the Supreme Court in addressing the issues we raised rendered the issues moot on behalf of the specific clients we represented. We are by no means finished with what needs to be done to get to the bottom of this fraudulent election, Sydney. So, of course, you know, with what happened today, it is a moot point. The Supreme Court has shown that they are 100%, including Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, and Barrett, part of the swamp, because I'm hopeful that they will render good judgments going forward. But the fact that they would not stand down, they would not stand up and stood down, just everything in the swamp needs to be rebooted, torn out, and restarted over again. President Trump he did not go to the Oval Office at all today, his last day, but he supposedly left a note for Joe Biden. It was left for the incoming president via an aide, and Vice President Mike Pence also left a note on his desk in the West Wing. Boy, I'd like to see that letter. It probably was not as scathing as it should have been. Perhaps what we've seen lately with President Trump going quietly away to fight a battle another day. Maybe it was just cordial. Who knows? My voice is not breaking, folks, because of emotion. I'm over that. We're back on it. But for some odd reason, I did not take my usual drink of water before starting this. Now, let's wrap up here our news of President Trump. He issued a whole bunch of pardons. 143 people in the last hours of his presidency received pardons or commutations. Once again, I want to keep this positive for the most part. Julian Assange was not on that list, nor was Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden's been really nasty on social media, on Twitter. Because of this, he says it's not because of it. He says he's been consistently nasty against the president. Very disappointed that Julian Assange was not pardoned. This is not farewell for us journalists, quite honestly.
Hey, everybody, stop clicking around. I am in the...
Because if President Trump didn't do it, it's not going to be done. It just doesn't fare well for free speech. But apparently, let me tell you what was coming out on why it didn't happen. According to Breitbart, a last-ditch effort to persuade President Donald Trump to issue a preemptive pardon to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was reportedly blocked by White House counsel Pat Cipollone. A high-level source in the Trump administration reported to Breitbart News that while the president is sympathetic to pardoning Assange, Cipollone is not, and the continued opposition of the White House counsel made a pardon increasingly unlikely. That was as of last night, and we know that didn't happen. In a recent Wall Street op-ed, the establishment newspaper praised Cipollone for reining in President Trump in the final days of his administration, quote, when the easier route would be to resign, to outside applause. So the swampy media is saying that he stood by President Trump and reined him in. Now, that's not what we're getting from the reporting of Tucker Carlson. There's more reasons for that. And of course, it comes back to the very swampy enemy of the people. One of the enemy of the people that absolutely must be called out and must be opposed is Mitch McConnell. Listen to what Tucker Carlson reported last night.
And in both cases tonight, as one of his final acts as president, Donald Trump has the opportunity to make that right, to pardon both of them. We told you that last night. We told you it before. We're hearing tonight that neither man, particularly Julian Assange, we don't know if this is true, is likely to get a pardon. Why? Well, apparently because Republicans in the Senate, and by Republicans in the Senate, we mean Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, the leader of Republicans in the Senate, has sent word over to the White House, if you pardon Julian Assange, we are much more likely to convict you in an impeachment trial.
All right, so essentially blackmail, according to this report from Tucker Carlson, from his sources. Mitch McConnell told President Trump that if he pardons Julian Assange, that he would side with the swamp, or he's already part of the swamp. He would aid the swamp, the deep state, in having a conviction against President Trump in a Senate trial of impeachment. I will say my analysis for President Trump's actions and response to this, like I said in an upcoming episode, I want to keep this positive, but I do have to give you the facts here.
Now, is it legal to hold that over a president's head? We're not lawyers. We don't know. It's certainly wrong. But more than that, it tells you everything about their priorities. At a time when this country in some ways is coming apart, we're at a pivot point in American history. And if you're watching this show, you probably feel pretty threatened, and for good reason. There are people on the other channels saying they're going to hunt you down like a terrorist. At that moment, what is Mitch McConnell, your designated defender in the United States Senate, worrying about? He's worrying about protecting the uniparty in Washington, not his party and the Democratic Party and permanent Washington. They're the reason both these men have been locked up, because both these men embarrassed permanent Washington. That's their crime. And his priority in the final hours of the Trump administration is to make certain that they remain punished for doing that. It tells you everything. We don't know what's going to happen in the end. We've got a number of hours left.
Well, we know he wasn't pardoned. Also coming out of the New York Times, McConnell has told allies he hopes never to speak to Mr. Trump again and is doing nothing to persuade senators to back him, instead calling the impeachment vote a matter of conscience. So he's saying, we're not going to defend President Trump. We're going to let the senators decide what they want to do, supposedly. But behind the scenes, he tells Trump, and probably through Pat Cipollone, he said, hey, this is how the trial can go in the Senate. And I'm thinking that Pat Cipollone said, don't do it, President Trump. Do not pardon preemptively Julian Assange. We want to live to fight another day. And Cipollone, I don't believe, is even going to be defending him, but he probably made a legal case, I'm thinking, for Mitch McConnell to just forego the pardon of Assange. And then now publicly he's reporting in the New York Times that Mitch McConnell's trying to make it sound like he's ambivalent. No, he's a power player in the DC swamp, and he's playing his cards to keep President Trump at bay.
Brush your teeth in less than 10 seconds with this revolutionary.
Tucker Carlson's right. It tells you everything you need to know about the Republican Party. As I said in my live stream last night, I am done with the Republican Party. Folks, do not give another dime to the Republican Party. Do not give another dime to the Republican Party. We are going to have to give to the actual candidates, Republicans that we want to support, but not to the party. And I'm going to agree with what James Comey just said in part, because James Comey just said the Republican Party needs to be burned down or changed. And of course, I'm going to agree with him, but on the other side. According to Breitbart, former FBI Director James Comey, an outspoken opponent of outgoing President Trump, believes the Republican Party needs to be burned down or changed moving forward. The Republican Party, he said, according to The Guardian, who interviewed him, he said something is shifting, a fault breaking apart, a break between the Trumpists and those who want to try and build a responsible party. He's absolutely correct. There is a fault. It has broken apart between those who back America first, the patriot agenda, the constitutional agenda, and the fake conservative party known as the Republican Party. It has broken apart. The Republican Party is done. It is done. I just can't see in good conscience. I'm like Steven Crowder. Change my mind. Put it down below. Why should we salvage the Republican Party? And just so you know, I want to keep it positive. But one of the things I'm going to be championing going forward, as I report the news to you, is correcting. I'm going to be pushing for voter ID and election integrity. And I'm going to be pushing for a real conservative / libertarian / patriot party. That is going to be my crusade and my agenda. I'm sure that's going to alienate some of you who are partisan and really think, yes, we have people like Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, a lot of true patriots in the Republican Party in the House. And they are going to be shunned by the Republican establishment. So they may be Republicans. They truly will be the new rhinos will be the real patriots. They will be Republicans in name onlys. The Devin Nunes, the Jim Jordans, these new freshman senators, Marjorie Greene and all of them. They are the new rhinos. We will support them because they're not going to be part of the Republican establishment. They will be iced out. They will not be. I guarantee you, many of those, very few of those, if any, will be on any committees of note or of consequence. They will be the new rhinos. They will be the patriots, and I'm going to support the Patriot Party, whatever form that is. Hopefully, led by President Trump. It would have to be led by President Trump, quite honestly. Once again, I will break that down in a future live stream. And the last thing I want to share with you is very interesting news. Dianne Feinstein actually defended the aforementioned Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley when they objected to the Electoral College vote. Senator Dianne Feinstein, Democrat out of my home state of California, defended Republican colleagues Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley on Tuesday over their objections to the Electoral College vote on January 6th, saying they were exercising their freedom as senators. Now, this is probably a setup for the senators to impeach President Trump in this upcoming trial. But this is what she had to say, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. The California Democrat was asked Tuesday about Republicans who objected to the Electoral College results that Congress certified early January 7th after the events. They call it a pro-Trump insurrection, but we know that's a lie. Republican Senators Ted Cruz of Texas and Josh Hawley of Missouri led the objections to President Reject JB's victory, even after members of Congress were forced to hide, et cetera, et cetera. Feinstein, however, defended their right to object, calling the Senate debate the highest level dialogue in democracy. Quote, I think the Senate is a place of freedom, and people came here to speak their piece, and they do, and they provide a kind of leadership. In some cases, it's positive. In some cases, maybe not. A lot of that depends on who's looking and what party they are, but it's an important place to have that kind of dialogue. It's probably the highest level dialogue that you can get in an electoral body. So it's very strange to end this live with words that are true. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Dianne Feinstein, also known as Di-Fi Chai Spy, because Dianne Feinstein is a Chinese spy, and she is controlled by the CCP. I don't know if she's playing whatever game she's playing here, but this broken clock is right now. There is the Senate is supposed to be a place of dialogue at its highest level when it comes to our legislative bodies. And with this partisanship, I've got to admit, I was surprised and blindsided that Dianne Feinstein would defend them. Folks, we are in for a bumpy ride, but we're going to be here to navigate it for you. We are not going anywhere. We have plans to bring you the truth and hold his fraudulency and his cohorts and comrades responsible, and we will continue to support the previous president. We will continue to support the legitimate winner of 2020 and the people and the Constitution. And we hope to have a long time on this platform. And just in case we don't, make sure you go over to blackconservativepatriot.com, register there with us with your email. So if we end up going somewhere else, we can notify you of that. Hoping that's not the case, but we're in for a whirlwind. But we're up for the fight. We hope you are as well. Thanks for being here. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Donald John Trump. Until the next one, ciao, goodbye, and God bless.